So we live together.
Yep.
We watch football together.
Yep.
We talk about football together.
Yep.
Why don't we just start a podcast?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eye Test. It's myself, Lyes, and my guy, CultureCams. Let's just get into it. Champions League semifinals have been decided. Incredible round of quarterfinals, to be honest with you. I think every single one of them served up some really, really good action, some really, really exciting ties. We're going to go through each one of them, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, players that stood out, players that need to be discussed under a closer microscope, and give you guys also a quick preview maybe. We'll probably do a more in-depth analysis of the semifinals as the games kind of approach, but just kind of give you our brief, quick thoughts on what that semifinal could kind of look like. But let's quickly outline it. PSG, Arsenal, Barcelona, Inter. Mouth-watering ties, but let's talk about the quarterfinals. Where do you want to start? Arsenal.
I think that's the best place to start, no?
Arsenal, Real Madrid. The game that probably had the most intrigue and hype around it before a ball was even kicked ended in a way that I don't think a lot of people before a ball was kicked would have predicted it. But on the basis of how it all played out, fair. It's honestly the most fair result ever. Arsenal were so much better than Real Madrid in almost every single facet, tactically, physically, mentally as well too. It's a well-deserved win, isn't it?
Well-deserved, man. Absolutely well-deserved. All departments. There wasn't one department that Real Madrid were better than Arsenal in. Duels, on the ball, tactically, structure, attackingly, defense. There wasn't one moment. The only person that can say maybe he outshone the other is Thibaut Courtois.
Yeah.
He's like the only person there that can say, maybe I was a bit better than Raya.
Yeah.
And Raya didn't really have much to do anyway,
That's
so I'm
true.
being a bit harsh. Do you know what I mean? Like, Thibaut Courtois is the only person that said, I did my job. And that's why you see him coming out all guns blazing. You know, when you've done your job, it's like, I'm the only person fit to speak. He was grilling it, like grilling the attackers, grilling the team play, grilling
the
basically,
manager.
grilling the manager, but then comes and says, like, you know, we still support his plans, but you know what he was saying in that conversation. So I think it's well deserved. Like it was such a thorough beating. You know what I mean? It's such a thorough beating. And we have seen moments where, and you know, I know you've said it, like Real Madrid don't win the Champions League every single year. So it's not like, you know, every year we think they're going to win it, but they don't win it every single year.
Feels like they're going to win it. They've won every year, but they don't. Yeah.
But we've seen them comprehensively beaten by Man City. We even see Tuchel's Chelsea. I thought they were the better team across the both legs, in my opinion, as well.
Remember that year?
Ajax, that was, what was that, 18, 19, yeah.
yeah.
They got us used post-Ronaldo first year and stuff, so they got away with it. Vinny was like running around with a skinhead or whatever he had, like. So, but then this team, like, we've seen it. Man City, we've seen it with Chelsea, and funny enough, with their English teams, and we've seen it with Arsenal. So I think it's like, it's one of their moments that happen. Real Madrid need to bounce back from it, and I think they will. But I think more so than us talking about Real Madrid, it's got to be about what Arsenal did.
I mean, 100%. Obviously, for the game, I was pretty confident Real Madrid were going to win before the tie, obviously. But really on the basis of both teams and how they've played this year, in hindsight, it was a very gross exaggeration on my part. And a big part of that is the managers, right? And I think this tie, more than anything, kind of encapsulated a team that is really, really well coached. It might not have the best individuals in every single position, but they're an amazing unit. They all know their roles. They're tactically drilled to damn near perfection defensively, it feels like. Versus a team that has a lot of brilliant individuals and a lot of star names on paper and Galacticos and reigning champions, but tactically look amateurish. They're average at best, and they have looked average at best all season. And we'll talk about Ancelotti, but I think, like you said, we have to start with Arsenal and we have to start with Arteta.
Yeah.
I think before this tie, right, I was kind of the opinion that the Arsenal project under Arteta was starting to feel a little bit stale. And I understand this season a lot has kind of gone wrong in the league based on injuries, based on the signings that they made in the summer. I think in January they should have done more as well too. But also I do think from a performance level as well too, they haven't been as good as they were the year before. I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying that. And this tie isn't going to revise that for me either. But I was kind of the opinion, this is a third year where they kind of come second. It's now 5 years without a major trophy. Next year kind of feels do or die for the Arteta project. I think this tie, and we'll see what they go on to do, but this tie in particular has almost kind of breathed new life into what Arteta's trying to do now. I think this kind of tie and this kind of performance and it just kind of brings the whole fan base back together. It makes the players want to believe again. All of a sudden, they have something to play for in a season that seemed over by January. And I think going into next season as well now too, it just feels like Arsenal are kind of back. They didn't go anywhere, but it feels like they're back now. And it kind of reminds me as well too of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Liverpool under Klopp, I think, went 5 or 6 years without a trophy as well too. They lost the Champions League final the year before. They had lost the first like 3-0 in Barca. It was going to be another year where again you're thinking Klopp, can he get? Remember there was a narrative of Klopp, can he get his team over the line? And I think that win against Barcelona in the second leg was almost like, wow. And even the win against Spurs, imagine they lose to Spurs in that final.
Yeah.
Does Klopp end up doing what he did at Liverpool? I kind of feel similar to Arsenal. And yes, there's a long way to go. They still have to win this competition. We'll see if they do. But that kind of performance for me was a huge mark on the Arteta era. And for me, it rubber stamped that, yeah, I think everyone knows he's a good manager. But this guy's an elite. For me, he's an elite manager now. Like, it's unquestionable now, right? You can talk about silverware. But to go and do what he's doing right now, no matter how bad Real Madrid have been, with Marino up front, with Kivior at center back, with an 18-year-old Luis Skelly at left back, a team that have been pretty much injury hampered all season, I think that's crazy coaching. Bro.
Yeah, I think he's doing a great... for me, I always have the elites as who have won it, but I do get what you're saying. He's building the minerals to be that. Now, for me, you just need that, you know, that blue tick on Instagram, that blue tick on Twitter, you know what I mean? That just says, here's the silverware to kind of... back it up, because I think at the end of the day the aim is to win those majors. But I do think he's doing a fantastic job, and that can't be taken away. And I agree. You know, you said the Barcelona game, that was to get them into the final. I know it's maybe different times in how long it's taken in their cycles, but I think like when they beat Man City in 17-18.
That's actually a great example.
I think that was a moment. That felt like, whoa, yo, this Liverpool team, you know, okay.
That's true.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then obviously, I know we've used this example for the previous seasons for Arsenal, so it's going to be like, hold on, you guys have said that before, but the next season they got a Van Dijk, they got a Fabinho, well, Van Dijk was there, sorry. They got a Fabinho and Alisson, and okay, people may say that was Declan Rice, and that was, but we all kind of felt that they butchered this summer. And now that they've got Berta, is it Berta, his name in? They've got him in. I've seen his track record of some of his signings, so some have been good, some have been bad, but he's going to want to make an impression. They're going to spend money this summer. Yeah. If Arsenal have a successful window this summer, they'll win the Premier League next season, I think. I think they'll win the Premier League. If they have a good window, they butchered this window. We have to remember that. They really butchered it. Credit to Moreno. He's actually now saying, hey, yo, I'm doing okay. I'm not Sterling and I'm not...
I mean, right now he's been better than okay.
I'm not Sterling. And who was the other signing?
Calafiori.
Calafiori, yeah. I'm not them two. But, so credit to him. He's doing his thing right. He's contributing in a major way. But I think they still got that summer wrong. You know, I don't think they did enough across the season. Well, those players across the season to say like they made a major impact. I think if they get it right, then Arsenal will continue to kick on. I do agree. Like, I'm seeing Arsenal's biggest haters online. I'm seeing they're like, oh, okay, they're gassed. You know what I mean? They're gassed at what they're seeing. And, you know, all year we're talking about Arsenal offensively and the magic and stuff. But the same way we have seen many, many teams in the Champions League go through and go far through being structured and defensively resolute. How do people think Rafa Benitez Liverpool was so good in Europe? Yeah. What, do you think it was because of swashbuckling football?
All they think is Gerrard just carried the team. No,
they
were defensive
they
powerhouse,
were defensive monsters, like literal monsters,
Yeah.
right? They were so good structurally, and that's why their team were going far year in, year out under Benitez. So I think, I'm not saying he's Rafa Benitez, but I think there is a formula.
Look at how Chelsea won the Champions League under
right?
Tuchel. Yeah.
There's structure and defensively resolute. And in knockout competitions, I know it sounds crazy, but a goal is going to come. Like, you may not only need one. Arsenal said we're going to give Real Madrid 5, but you may only need one. You may only need 2 to win. Premier League, okay, is different. It's across the whole season, but you may only need 2 goals. You may only need 1 goal. So Arsenal are scoring a lot of goals. They scored a lot against PSV. They scored against Real Madrid. So maybe their formula is just perfect for Europe right now. But
it does feel that way.
It does feel that way, because I'm looking at the matchups now and I'm like, you know, Arsenal are a tough matchup for every single team at the moment. You know what I mean? So I really think right now they should start believing they can do this, bro. Arsenal can win this Champions League.
They're 3 games away from it, bro. At this point, I think first of all 4 teams can win it, but they're 3 games away from history, bro.
Yeah, and I think, look, at some point history has to be rewritten. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to rewrite history at some point. Why can't this be Arsenal's first time? And listen, I don't know if you've seen. I said it to Fuad yesterday. There's the finals in Munich. Every final that's been played in Munich, there's been 4 finals played
They've
in
all
Munich.
been won by a new team.
They've all been won by that team have all won their first.
Yeah.
Their first Champions League. That means it's a good omen for PSG and Arsenal.
So what is that? 2012 was Chelsea.
2012 was Chelsea. Then there was like is it Dortmund? Yeah, Dortmund.
Wow.
I can't remember the teams, but yeah, they all won their first trophy, but first Champions League. So PSG and Arsenal.
You're fighting for destiny right now.
Lucky, the history's on your side right now.
I'm gonna ask you about a few players in a bit, but you know what I also really liked from Arsenal yesterday, and it's gonna tie into Real Madrid, who we're gonna talk about very soon because we got a lot to talk about with them. I really liked the level-headedness from Arsenal yesterday because with all the noise that to be honest with you, from the entire tie, whether it was Saka being asked about Mbappe and Vinicius, the response that he gave, Declan Rice and Arteta talking after the game yesterday about...
Ooh, breaking news on the eye test. Carlo Ancelotti expected to leave Real Madrid after the Copa del Rey final. That will be his final game.
Oh my God, that's not even the end of the season.
No. Wow. Breaking news. Bro, the season's not even... They're 3 points off the title. They can still win the league. They've got...
I think they're 4 points off the title.
Are they 4 points? But they've got Barcelona on the... They've got Barcelona after the Copa del Rey again.
Does anybody think they're going to...
No, but to sack a manager 3 points off. Come on.
I think it's damning, bro. For me, that's not that... I mean, it's a big...
End the season!
It's a big story, but it's not
yeah,
not
4
that
points.
Shocking.
But end the season. I don't get this. What is the difference? What is the difference? What is the difference? I don't understand that.
We're gonna get into that with Ancelotti.
I don't understand that.
We're gonna get into that with
season.
Ancelotti. But you know what I liked about Arsenal, like I was saying, bro, is the mentality and the level-headedness I felt they kind of showed throughout these legs. Madrid have basically made this entire tie their own like trailer for their movie or some shit like that. They actually think they're in the Avengers or something like that.
So
about like
Dragon Ball Z, man.
yeah. Like it's been absolutely ridiculous, right? But throughout all of that, I think it also would have been very easy yesterday with the stadium closed and the fans jeering and showing up in numbers and all the pressure for Arsenal to really show up on a stage like that and kind of get stage fright or something like that. But no, you saw Arsenal go to the Bernabeu and just play their own game and just say, we don't care what Madrid are going to do. We don't care about all the noise. We're just going to do what we do. We're going to pick our moments. We're going to defend like we've done for the last 3 years, basically. Real Madrid hype, bro. That's basically what they said, man. And Lewis Skelly, 18-year-old, not fazed by the moment. Saka, not fazed by... I know he missed the penalty, but not fazed by the moment. Declan Rice, he said, you like the performance I put on in the first leg. Here go another one for y'all, man. He was even better yesterday, I think, than he was in the first leg. Free kicks were brilliant. Yesterday was the term dominant. That performance can only be described as dominant.
I think it's funny because you're saying you admire their level-headedness. I genuinely think Real Madrid doing all that made it easier for Arsenal.
You think so?
Yeah, and remember I said it to you before the game. Was it you that said it to you?
Yeah, you did say that.
I genuinely think all of that was corny, bro. And I genuinely think it would have made Arsenal lock in even more.
Saka said we all saw the...
Yeah. I think it would have made them lock in even more because it's like, you guys are kind of like insulting us in a way. Like, you're doing all this as if like we're going to crumble. Like, oh, you're coming to... But 90 minutes is very long. All of this catchphrases and corny lines. I genuinely think they actually put a battery up Arsenal's back. I think if they just said, we'll see them at the Bernabeu, Real Madrid have done miracles before. Something like that, kept quiet, kept business how it was, then Arsenal walk in and see, whoa, what's going on? It would have been unbelievable. You told them everything that's going to happen. You told everyone the academy kids are going to clap them into the ground. You told everyone the horses are coming out. The flares are coming out. You told everyone the roof is going to be... I mean, from now, they knew what to expect walking in there. Like, where's the surprise? Where's the aura? Yeah. They kind of ruined it.
All felt manufactured, bro.
Yeah, it all felt manufactured. Yeah. It was corny. It was the most I've seen it on social media. I was gonna say I remember growing up. No, I remember when Real Madrid were down. See you there. Ronaldo's gonna do business. When Real Madrid are down, Benzema's doing chips at the Etihad, smiling. They're losing. You know you're coming to the Bernabeu. I remember, I think it was Modric. He was talking to Rio Ferdinand, I think. I don't know what tie it was. Maybe it was PSG, I think it was. I can't remember what it was. And he said...
the first, like, he said, we knew...
I told one of the Real Madrid players, yeah, you'll lose. We're gonna beat them at the Bernabeu, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's what they
No,
were.
because you never had to
What's
tell
all this social media type?
you
Rodrigo,
never had to tell
Ruben
people that
Vinny,
Cristiano Ronaldo was coming. You never had to tell people that
Karim Benzema's
yeah,
coming.
yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't have to do it. So this one felt very manufactured. It felt very forced, and I actually think that played into Arsenal's hands perfectly because also Real Madrid, you're adding pressure to yourself as well. I expected to see all guns blazing. I thought it was going to be like the scene of the Avengers when you saw in
Bro.
Civil War, when you saw one team running, the other team running at each other. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was going to see that. I didn't see none of that. You know what I mean? It was just...
Are you a Marvel head
Bruh,
since when?
Yeah, come on, man. You know, I know my stuff, man. I know my stuff. But yeah, man, I was so disappointed with them. All talk. What was it? All bark, no bite.
Yeah.
All bark, all no
What
bite.
do you
That's
think
what it
of
was.
Rice's performance before we go into Madrid?
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable performance. And it's like, as you said, a lot of people were trying to, you know how it is, right? You can have your greatest night in the history of in your whole life, and people will still find a way to nitpick it. Oh, it was just 2 set pieces. Oh, he's never done him before. Oh yeah, the only 2 he's ever scored. Then they start posting all his last 30 free kicks, and he said, all right, cool. All right, I'm gonna show you no GA. No, none of that. I'm just gonna run this midfield with Valverde, who they call the best, with Jude Bellingham, who they call the best, with Tchouameni, who they say is better than him. He showed levels in that game, man. Ran the show physically. He was just getting up and down, counter killing. You know what I mean? On the ball, he was popping up in attacking areas. It was just a perfect performance, man. And how many people, we saw that it was N'Golo Kante but how many people can they had a back-to-back man of the match performances against Real Madrid? I'm sure somewhere along the line Messi probably kind of something, but I'm telling you, it was special for him. I'm happy for him.
That's a legacy performance for me, man, honestly.
If they go on and win it,
even if they don't, honestly, I don't think they have to win it for me to recognize that performance from Declan Rice is like, wow. And I always say, right, I admire what you do over the 38 games or whatever, and definitely the biggest games in the Prem matter, right? But we always remember the best players ever, and I'm not saying whether Declan Rice ends up becoming one of the best players ever or not, but we always remember them for their performances on the biggest stages, in the biggest stadiums, against the biggest teams, on the biggest nights. Going to the Bernabeu and doing what Declan Rice did last night, bro, that's the best, that's the biggest game of his career, in my opinion. That's the Declan Rice. When I think of Declan Rice in 20 years, unless he goes and does another thing in the semifinal and final, I'm going to think about this performance. That, for me, rubber stamped his price tag right there. We always have this question mark about £100 million with him. And to be honest with you, when it comes to midfielders, I always kind of feel a little hesitant spending $100 million because are they really like game changers like that? Declan Rice changed that game on his own, bro. No one wants to go near him during that game.
He was playing like 3 midfielders in
I
one.
felt like he genuinely covered it. I genuinely felt, you talk about N'Golo Kante getting two man of the matches back to back. I felt like I was watching a 6'2" N'Golo Kante yesterday. That's the kind of performance we saw from him yesterday.
Yeah, you know, you're spot on in terms of like the big moments is what you remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the big bro. Can you remember anything of Kante's season other than that Champions League run?
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure he's injured most of the season.
I don't even remember what he did.
Yeah.
I don't care, bro.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
I remember that season as the N'Golo Kante season, bro. I literally cannot tell you one game other than that quarterfinals to finals. Like, I can't. So it's like, that's where that's where you want to put more stock into these things. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's where you remember them. That's where they become legends. That's where nights on, we're going to say, hey, yo, do you remember that game where boom, 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 did this and did that? Throughout Manchester United's history, throughout any club that you support people watching, you remember the biggest nights,
Keane,
right?
Juventus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Roy Keane, Juventus. You just remember
Gerrard, Olympiacos. There's just games you just remember.
The biggest nights, bro. Like, just them nights are the ones that you remember, and that's what football should be all about.
And think of Jason Tatum.
Yes.
You don't see anything.
Yeah, honestly, but nah, I'm buzzing for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely buzzing for Miles Lewis-Skelly as well. Looked absolutely comfortable on that pitch. There's a few times he got close, like physically with Jude, bounced him as if like you'd think Jude is like
Skelly is a scary talent,
you'd
bro.
think Jude was a flimsy like Ardagula or something, like the way he moved him. Like Miles Lewis-Skelly comfortable on that pitch, and you know I'm big on youth players and stuff, you know, and it's just so good to see when you see somebody that from young, like he's still young, but go on and do this. It's probably the same thing like with Kobe Mainoo. I know his stocks are down right now because that's how football works, but he started a Euro final. half season. Like Miles wouldn't have predicted. Like it's not like who can I say? Like I don't even know who I can say. Like there's some people that you just know from the start of the season. Oh, they're coming and they're gonna start all season. It's like Calafiori got signed. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't meant to be Miles Skelly this season. It wasn't meant to be Kobe Mainu last season. And when you see that success story, it just honestly, it's nice to see, man.
Bro,
honestly.
I said the other day on
Timber,
Sky
just a mad
about
performance.
Yamal, right? I said we need to stop talking about Yamal 17-year-old, these performances for 17-year-old. These performances, if Yamal was 26, are best in the world level. I think similar, obviously to a different skill, but with Lewis Skelly, it's past being an 18-year-old right now, bro. He's playing like one of the best left backs in the world, period. Even if it's 26, I'd be saying this, bro. How many left backs in the world can you genuinely say, since he's made his debut for Arsenal this year, have performed at a better level than him? Maybe the two guys at Barca and PSG, Balde and Mendes. Outside of that, bro, he's playing as good as anybody in that position.
Yeah.
And then you take into the fact he's 18 is what's stupid, bro.
Yeah, no, listen, talent. Oh, say cream always rises to the
But
top,
it's more
you
than
know
just
what I mean?
bro, he literally
His
went to the
mentality-
Bernabeu.
his mentality
Imagine
is
telling
fake.
Lewis Skelly at the beginning of the season, yo, 10 months in or whatever, Bernabeu, you versus Rodrigo, you versus Jude. You're going to lock both of them up.
Yeah.
Come on. Man.
Yeah, nah, that's what it's all about. The mentality is right. But honestly, we can go through every single player and we can find a way to praise them. But let's move on to Madrid.
You know who we will? Yeah, Madrid. We'll go through every single player. Oh my goodness, this is maybe the biggest embarrassment. I mean, you've been watching football a little longer than me, but since I've started watching football, I think this ranks as number one for biggest humiliations out of the Champions League from Real Madrid. And there's been some big ones. I even forgot actually the 4-0 to City a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was, of course, the 4-0 to Liverpool. Ajax, they got destroyed at home as well, too. And they even went through a huge period. You remember this when they couldn't get by the round of 16.
8 years in a row.
And I still think this is the biggest embarrassment that I have seen from Real Madrid in the Champions League. Because I think when you take the context into account, this expectation at the start of the season, the fact that they're the reigning champions, the whole nonsense baloney before a ball was even kicked to the second leg. The way they've humiliated themselves over 2 legs is the biggest embarrassment I have ever seen from Real Madrid in the Champions League. And every one of those players, and Carlo Ancelotti, I think need to be taking a long, hard look at themselves in the mirror for this season, but going into next season as well too. All of them have completely disgraced themselves. Mbappe, Vinicius, Jude, Fede, Rodrigo, Carlo, all of them, bro. This is humiliation. At any other club would be bad. At Real Madrid, it's sacrilegious, bro.
It's funny because sometimes when you talk about Real Madrid, right, you think to yourself, oh, well, they did win it last year. You can't be too harsh on them. But
that's the
the
expectation.
thing is, their fans are that harsh on them as well. So it's like that their club, they're harsh on it. Man, lose their job after 6 months of bad form. So I guess you have different kind of standards for them. But that's just the way it's going to be when you discuss Real Madrid. But it's the manner and the way they went out this season. At no point this season did Real Madrid look really convincing.
Ever.
Ever. At no point did you really look at them and think, they're the best team in La Liga. They're the best team. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when it was more kind of like, it's Real Madrid. So, like, that's the thing. It's Real Madrid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When I remember half season, we were speaking about, okay, from this point here, who's going to win it? And I was like, bro, I think Barcelona are better, but it's Real Madrid, isn't it?
Even before you, obviously I had my take on, but even you were saying, oh, Real Madrid versus Arsenal, it's Real Madrid. But you know what it is with Real Madrid, bro? This is what annoys me and why I'm actually happy they're out. Obviously, I wanted them to be Arsenal because that's my rivals, right? But I am happy in a way they're out. Real Madrid, the only football club, bro, that operate off narrative and storytelling and fairy tales and what ifs rather than logic and nuance and real life and like game planning.
This is why they like, even in the Cristiano era, man, this is why like they didn't win many leagues and stuff, because they don't play well enough.
But they were a much better team.
I
keep hearing people say like, oh, well, there was no logic or whatever when they did those remontadas versus I'm like, that's not true, bro. That was still a team that was hitting like 90 points on Liga. They were up against a really, really good Barcelona.
And they had Cristiano.
They had much better. They had much better, more established players as well too. But bro, 16-17, they won the double. Like, they were the best team in the world. 13-14, okay, they didn't win the league. They won the cup in the Champions League. They were unbelievable. Even under Benzema in that year, they were doing all those comebacks. They won the league. Like, this team is just flat out not that good. Those teams were good and making comebacks.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, like, even in the last year in the Champions League as well, they weren't really that amazing either. They were
last
blowing
season
you away. Yeah, I don't.
But last season they only lost one game
in the
last
whole
season.
Champions League.
I'm pretty sure in all competitions they only lost
Wow.
one game, bro.
It didn't feel like, to be fair, I'm not saying in the whole season. I just think in the Champions League, I thought they were good. I don't think they were unbelievable.
They blew the world, but they were still a
Yeah.
very solid team, bro.
Yeah.
Defensively, they were much better
But
last
the
year.
only thing that's really changed is bringing in a Kylian Mbappe.
Kroos leaving, I
You
think,
know what I mean?
has killed,
Kroos
bro. I
leaving,
think
of
Kroos
course.
has
Obviously,
killed them.
Modric is obviously getting older and older. But I mean, if you lose Kroos, which is massive, but then you bring in Kylian Mbappe, you do think you find a way to subside it because you're bringing in such a massive player.
I think it's killed the balance of that team.
It
though,
probably,
bro.
yeah. This is what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, and I think
Like, for me, there's no doubt they're a much worse team. Even
Mm-hmm.
okay, duh, because they're out, but they're actually just a much worse team than last year. If these
Yeah.
two teams played each other last year versus this year, last year would win
Yeah.
comprehensively.
I mean, obviously, they've got some injuries as well, which doesn't help them too much. But I just think in general, yeah, when you look at Real Madrid this season, it's just not been it. And you got to look at the big names, and that's the way it is. Jude Bellingham's not been good enough this season himself.
No.
Like, for the standard that he set last season, he's not been good enough. I think that's an effect of both Toni Kroos and Mbappe coming in.
I agree.
There's an effect of both of them. Do you get where I'm coming from? Vinny, he's been affected. Rodrigo, he gets away with just doing popping in and out whenever he wants. You know what I mean? But we have to start with the head of the snake, and it's Kylian Mbappe. Do you know what I mean? It's Kylian Mbappe. This is why I had issues when people were talking about Ballon d'Or and if they win it, he should win it. I'm like, the guy's not been good, and I'm not going to be gaslighted into thinking that Mbappe's been good this season. This is the worst version of Mbappe I've ever seen, by the way. From 18 to... I don't even care about last season. Last season, he wasn't great either. This is still the worst Mbappe that I've seen personally. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, look, we know you're a top player, but I don't think he's fit the balance. We talk about the work rate. We talk about his positioning on the pitch. When balls are coming into the box, he's not there. Jude Bellingham is there instead. I think Real Madrid will have to make, not a decision, but they will have to find a way of going on with that Vinny Mbappe situation, because clearly Mbappe, yeah, you can hang, you can score some goal. You're going to score some goals as a 9, but you're not going to perform well, bro. You're not going to really impact.
You're not going to be Mbappe.
You're not going to, the impact that Mbappe puts on the pitch when he's playing at his best, you're not going to get that with him in that 9 in this position, in my opinion. So, yeah, okay, if midfielders come in, it can help and stuff. But Mbappe 9, just when you maybe started thinking, okay, that Man City game, is he... Yeah, I think it reverted back to type. I don't think he's been great. I don't think he's been good at all this season. I don't care about 30 goals. Personally.
I mean, bro, if the fact is he took first 4 months of the season off, most of his goals at one point were just charity penalties.
Vinny gave him 6 pence.
That's what I'm saying. They were charity penalties. And you know what it is, right? I don't think Mbappe and Vinny have ever played together well at the same time this year. The best part of Mbappe's season, I actually think, came when Vinny was in and out of the team through injury, and it was almost him and Rodrigo. And then Vinny, we've seen the best version of him comes about Mbappe.
Was up till November, December.
I don't think the two of them have ever had a period where they're both firing.
It's a very good point. Didn't think of that. It's a good point.
Yeah, and look, with Mbappe, right? I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm not gonna go too much more on that. But what I will say is, I said it at the start of the season. You're joining a team that didn't need you, right? It's not like a few years ago where they needed you. They were champions. They all won without you.
Yeah.
You came so that they could help elevate you to champions. So you're joining a team that has already basically been at perfection. The only way to meet the expectation is to maintain the perfection. Anything less than that is considered failure. This season is a failure. Even more so on top of that, because Barcelona look like they're on course for a treble. On top of your failure. PSG without you look better than they ever did with you. They're on course for a treble, undefeated in the league. Your old mate, who you can tell all you want about, oh, I'll be happy for him, a guy that you had at one point lapped and lapped again and then lapped again, could be on to win the trophy that you joined Madrid to win in the Ballon d'Or. And at the end of the day, the one thing I was wrong about is I said, no one's going to be looking at Vinny. No one's going to be looking at Rodrigo. They are looking at them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, as you said, it falls down to him, bro. You joined a team that won, and they have gotten worse. Whether it's completely because of you or not, you're a big reason for it.
Hey, Jude might do the Draymond to him. Like, hey, we don't need you. We won without you. We'll win without you. We won without you, and we'll win when you're gone too. You know what I mean? What he did to KD. But now, honestly, look, I remember going back to that conversation that we had, and you said, like, it'll be big failure and stuff like that about if Mbappe joins and pretty much doesn't do everything. I remember people were talking about, can this be the first time they even win a treble because they've never done it in their history and stuff.
He teased Perez for the last 5 years for this.
But I remember, like, I was on the side where I was like, it will be failure, but I won't be as surprised as I'm not saying you're surprised, but you were more like, it cannot happen. And I was kind of like, bro, this guy's not Messi level, bro. Like, I think we're gassing him a little bit. Like, we know he's top, but like, I didn't expect him just to walk in and like clean everything up. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like he's not Messi. Like Mbappe's a top player, but like he's not that. You know what I'm trying to say? He's not like that type of player. But listen, I think he will win a Champions League at the club eventually. I think he will be successful. But I do think they need to find a balance between that. If he has another year like this year, next year, and they get knocked out, in Champions League, he does nothing again. Somebody's leaving, bro. I think one of them two are leaving, bro.
I think Rodrigo will be gone this summer.
Rodrigo, I'm not even thinking about him. Like, but
they can do whatever they want. But he's the sacrificial lamb anyway. Yeah. He'll be the first one to leave because Vinny and Mbappe for them, I think, are too valuable. He's gonna get sacrificed before either of them. But I completely agree with you. If next year, honestly, and you know what it is, bro, you're talking about like this guy left, this guy came in. They completely changed the shape of the team. Last year, they were so successful with the diamond.
Yes.
This year, they reverted back to 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. Yeah. Okay, talk on the Ancelotti point before we move on, obviously.
Ancelotti, obviously, they've just announced that Ancelotti will be leaving the club 26th of April. Last game will be the Cup del Rey final. Look, I think Ancelotti has not done a great job this season. I think tactically, you speak to Real Madrid fans, they're done with him. I think Ancelotti should be gone.
I think the players are done with him, by the way. I listen to the way Jude talks about Ancelotti in every press conference, bro. I don't think he rates him.
I think Ancelotti should be gone at the end of the season. I do not understand why you would get rid of Ancelotti during the season. There's still a league to play for. There's still, obviously, he's going to go after the Cup del Rey, but even the motivation for it, that kind of feels like a conceding, like, our season's done. You've got a Cup del Rey final and you're only 4 points in the league. There's 7 games to go. Like, anything can happen. It just takes one Barcelona bad result in and amongst this run where they got still play Inter and stuff. It's some tough fixtures. They still got Real Madrid in the league. Yeah. Anything can change. And I know maybe you're looking at Real Madrid and saying, oh, it's not inspiring. Like, is it really going to flick a switch? But anything can happen in football. And I just think sacking him before the end of the season, it kind of feels a little bit like...
You're not even taking the biggest...
It kind of feels like when Spurs sacked Jose before a cup final.
You're even missing the biggest... They have the Club World Cup at the end of the season, bro.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, that would be a perfect introduction for a new manager.
But the new manager doesn't come in. But that's supposed to be still part of the season. That's considered part of the season.
There we go.
It's like a preseason for next year.
Yeah, you're right. So... I think it's a bit of a bizarre decision. I think maybe it's a bit of an impulsive decision. Perez probably can't believe what he saw. But... are they trying to give him an opportunity to leave potentially with a trophy? Or are they just fed up?
I think it's more fed up, bro. If they were trying to give him a chance at the trophy, they would let him at least try and win the league and the Club World Cup. I think it's like, bro, good luck against Barca. We know what's coming. That'll be the perfect excuse to get your ass out of here, bro.
Don't you think now they've just created an excuse for all the players now?
I don't know, but you know what it is with Madrid, bro.
Like, we can just go and roll over.
It's all just drama and noise with Madrid this season. Honestly, bro. Even you, right? This is how you know how bad and unbearable Madrid have been. This guy has always preferred Madrid over Barca. He's always been Real Madrid over Barcelona. This is the first season I've ever known Cam where he hasn't even like messed with Real Madrid whatsoever. In fact, he's been riding out for Barcelona all season. That tells this guy hates Barca.
Yeah, literally. Nah. You're spot on. You're literally spot on. Yeah, there's just not much.
It feels manufactured, bro. Honestly, it all feels manufactured in Madrid.
Yeah, and obviously, look, Mbappe, we're good. In all my years of watching football, Mbappe's been doing his thing. But we good, bro.
You can go now.
You can go now. Lamine Yamal's here. You can go now. We're good. Football is saved. We're good. Let's move on, man. We spent a long time on these guys.
100%. Big up to Arsenal, Real Madrid. Hold, man. Where do you want to go next to this? PSG, or you want to go to Inter? Do you want to go to Barca?
I mean, the games. Obviously, let's. I think we should preview the semis.
Okay, so then let's talk about PSG a little bit.
In a way,
because they are the next opponent for Arsenal. They obviously, I mean,
credit to Villa, by the way.
Yeah.
Well done. Unlucky,
Emery,
man.
Rashford,
You guys,
yeah.
Emery, you kind of.
Now you know what it is though, right? Okay, he messed it up at the end, but they only get that far with him, bro.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't like people trying to rub out Emery after that game. Like, bro,
True.
he just had them literally on the verge of knocking out PSG. Like, he messed it up, but they don't even do that without him. But PSG, man, I mean, to win this thing, they're gonna have to go through like all of England, bro.
Yeah.
They beat Man City to even stay alive in the competition. They beat Liverpool. They beat Villa. They're gonna have to beat Arsenal. Hey, they're running through England right now, bro.
Didn't Real Madrid did that? They beat City, Chelsea, and Liverpool.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think Man United were actually in the Champions League that year. But yeah. They went through 3 English teams.
Yeah, City, Chelsea, and Liverpool.
Yeah,
and
but
these guys would have played.
They had to play all 4 of them, bro. Yeah, they're gonna have to run through England.
Yeah,
and they've done pretty well to get to this point already. Obviously, the second leg at Villa Park was a little shaky. That's probably the weakest we've seen PSG in a game for a long, long time. But they have Arsenal now. Now PSG, I think, are probably, in terms of form, post-November, December, the hottest team in the world. Dembele is statistically the best player in Europe post-January. They look irresistible. The football they play is free-flowing. But Arsenal, this is actually a team that have already beaten them, albeit in slightly different circumstances. How do you think the two kind of stack up with each other? Where do you think this game could be won or lost? And who do you have going to the final?
I think this is a very interesting matchup. I look at Arsenal, and I think Arsenal are perfectly suited to playing against this against this PSG team. And I think PSG offensively are incredible. Midfield, just in general, their team is very, very good. Marquinhos concerns me a little bit, but the team in general, and Donnarumma, he's up and down.
Donnarumma's doing a little redemption tour. Even against Liverpool, the second leg, he had a big game.
True. But I think when I look at this PSG team, they're opposites in a way to Arsenal. Arsenal are strong, they're physical, defensively so solid. And you look at this PSG team, who I'm not saying they're not physical, because their guys are intense, but they're small, they're very attacking. So it's kind of like a complete clash in styles. But I think the way Arsenal structure themselves, they don't mind playing teams like PSG. They don't mind playing teams that are gonna attack them. They Arsenal soak that up. They soak it up. And when you look at, I've been watching the PSG games in the Champions League specifically, they are so good at getting to the final third. But when they get to the final third, they shoot on sight, right? They shoot edge of the box. Arsenal love that. Don't get, but beyond us, lovely. Arsenal like that. Now, if you're going to do a Desiree Doué and whip it top bins, then you ain't got a chance, right? But they are very good at maneuvering their shots, but they don't create the clearest chances. And Arsenal are the best team in the world in the Champions League, as you can see, at preventing shots faced. So it's a very, very interesting balance, in my opinion, this fixture. I am leaning to Arsenal. I do think Arsenal will win this one. I think, but that's nothing against PSG, but I'm just
Styles
thinking
make fights, bro. Styles make fights.
3 wingers, Arsenal just so solid, bro.
You know what it is? I think the 3 wingers, it's like people are comparing it to Madrid, and it's almost like, oh, well, we just played Mbappe, Vinicius.
No.
It's a different kettle of fish, because these guys, first of all, they run. They don't stay in their position.
Like they like each other.
Yeah, that's a good start, first of all, yeah. But in fact, like I was seeing yesterday, like Rodrigo just stood on the touchline. Vinicius, he's going to play one way. These guys are unpredictable. You never know where any of them are going to kind of... Dembele is popping up in every single position you can think of. So they are going to stretch Arsenal's back line much better than Real Madrid did. They are going to give them more headaches in terms of where are these guys. I think that will work in their favor. The one thing I think Villa did a really good job of, and I don't think enough people kind of took account of it, is how narrow they played with the likes. Because, Villa, they don't play with out-and-out wingers. Whether it was McGinn and Rodgers or Ramsey came in at one time, Asensio, they really packed the middle of the pitch. And I think for the first time, since actually probably when PSG went to the Emirates, I saw Vitinha look a little flustered. I saw João Neves look a little flustered.
They did.
So what Villa did really well to do that is really pack the middle of the pitch and double team these guys almost at times. Pressure them. Don't give them the chance to breathe. Will Arsenal kind of play that way? Because Saka, Martinelli, I think they're going to have huge games from the likes of Partey is going to miss the first leg. Declan Rice, Odegaard, whoever's kind of playing in there to disrupt Vitinha. Because you can talk about Dembele and all those guys. They're huge for them. But I think that team lives and dies by what Vitinha does in the middle.
And let me tell you where I was concerned, though. I saw John McGinn effortlessly power
Yeah, you can't do that.
You
can't do that. Declan Rice is going to have fun if that's the case.
You know what I mean? And then you look at Rashford's assist, Vitinha. walked past him as if Vitinha's not there. Because
But you know what it
looked
is?
at him and thought, I ain't ready for this matchup. And you think about Bukayo Saka in them positions.
But you know what it is? That's the only. But the thing is with Villa, it all started from the fact that they didn't let PSG be settled in possession.
Yeah,
that's the reason. Like, if PSG are settled in possession, the opportunities for teams to do that against them go down drastically. But you have to be able to unsettle them.
Jamie Carragher made a great point where he said that, like, how he used to play in the Champions League, how Liverpool used to play is they used to sometimes just be like, okay, we don't mind you having the ball, but we want to win the ball off you, and that's how we'll win the game.
Of course.
We want to win it, and that's
what
we'll
Villa did
and
against
then
PSG.
He said, he said, we used to try and make European games, Premier League games. And he thinks that's what Villa did. Villa made that a Premier League game.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
And PSG were like, yo, what the hell
That's
is
actually
going
a really
on
good
here?
point. It felt like that. Yeah,
it felt like a Premier League
yeah.
game. It probably did. So Arsenal can do that. You know what I mean? Arsenal can do that. So I look at Villa, fantastic side, but you look at Arsenal like a 2.0 of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I still lean into
where do you
Arsenal.
think
as much as, you know,
Yeah.
for
I was gonna say, where do you
football,
think PSG can hurt Arsenal then?
Oh, I mean, again, we can't write off how good they are in possession. Partey missing is huge. Partey missing the first leg is huge, considering how good that midfield circulate the ball, but also those wing backs as well, those fullbacks. They are going to have to make... Nuno Mendes can't spend... A lot of teams play against Arsenal and think, oh, okay, Saka's there. We're going to sit back. The left back is going to sit. Maybe the right back is going to sit. Martinelli's good in transition. These two are going to have to say, Martinelli, Saka, defend. That's going to have to be defend. You know what I mean? So I think that's a way. That's a place.
Because Hakimi's been very good for them as well.
Yeah,
too,
man. Because Jurriën Timber and Skelly are locking stuff off. We've seen it all season. The only way you're going to probably be able to hurt them is manipulation, combinations, get around them.
Yeah.
Because if it's just going to be a game where it's, hey, Barcola v Timber, I'm going Timber. If it's just going to be Kvara v Skelly, it could easily be Lewis Skelly in that case. But if now Hakimi's bombing on and Skelly's thinking, okay, if Nuno Mendes is bombing on, and that's how you're going to be able to hurt them. They're going to have to try and get them wide because Arsenal have just shut off every team in them wide areas.
I think this is my prediction, right? Not in terms of the game, but I think this game is won or lost by PSG based on what Dembele does. Because Dembele, bro, I'm watching him really closely in these games. I think a lot of people are looking at his goal scoring numbers post January.
Well, man.
But bro, he's even their biggest creator as well too, man. He's slotting through Mendes, he's slotting through Hakimi. Everything goes through him. And I think this is a game, right? We're talking about the Ballon d'Or and all that stuff. I think if Dembele has his best game, that might be enough for PSG. And like I see PSG winning because of Ousmane Dembele. That's how much kind of stock I put into how important his performance is. In fact, when PSG lost to Arsenal, Dembele didn't play in that game. Like it was disciplinary issues.
Yeah.
And since that game, he's kind of been on this run. I see this game for PSG being won or lost based on how effective Ousmane Dembele is. And if he is and he gets PSG to the final, I think that might be the Ballon d'Or wrapped up for him, bro.
You know that stat, shot creating actions? I would love to see how much Dembele creates for those
Ridiculous,
ones. Because
bro.
Jack Grealish used to lead all them charts because he brings players. Okay, lay it off to Rodri. You go and shoot. Bring player, lay it off to this person, go shoot. Dembele does that so much. He's in the box. I would love to see how many touches per game he has in the box.
Yeah.
Because he just gets it. He can go both ways. So you double up on him. Then he lays off Kvara.
Yeah, he's
Kvara
so
shoot.
good at that.
He
Yeah,
lays
yeah.
off Vitinha shoot. But this is what I mean. They love that edge of the box shoot. They don't create that clear chance.
But is that, you know what it is though? Is that a huge problem if you have guys who are really good shooters?
I mean, if you had Kevin De Bruyne taking a
No,
shot,
but I mean, you look at what Kvara, Skelly, and Dembele, like
Yeah.
they can strike a ball, bro.
They can.
Like they've been beating teams a lot because of long
Yeah.
shots and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if it works for you, like
if it works,
yeah,
amazing.
I mean, it's obviously it's a lower XG chance. You'd obviously rather have balls across the box for a tap, and I get that, but it's not like, to kind of counter your point. Yeah, okay, when you have Jard, but it's not like they have like, I don't know, Garnacho shooting.
Yeah,
like they have snipers
Good
shooting.
suits. Yeah. Listen, that's what I'm saying. If it just decides to go in the night, there's nothing you can do about it. There's literally, if Due cuts
Like
in,
they have
how he did a
individual
bang-
brilliance. Like yeah,
Of course. So anything can happen, man. Look at way Kvara just against Villa acts like he's going right, goes left, bangs it top hit. Like if you've got quality like that, I'm not writing you off, but we're here to do predictions, and I'm just favoring.
I think I favor Arsenal a little as well too. Honestly, I think PSG are brilliant, but styles make fights, bro. And it does feel like Arsenal have more ways of hurting PSG, and nullifying PSG's strengths than vice versa.
It feels like two teams who are ready to ascend, two teams who are ready to finally like. I know PSG got to a final and only 2020,
It's a different team.
but
It's a different team. It's a completely different team.
It feels like two teams that are ready to just be like, we're big dogs.
Yeah.
You know, we're big team. Like, so not saying Arsenal or not, but just feels like that. And so it's good. It's a lovely boys tie.
Really, do we know the first leg is in PSG?
It's at Emirates.
First leg's at Emirates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's big, man.
Yeah.
That's really big.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I think most teams.
Do you think my boy? Okay, so sorry to cut you. My boy said that he thinks since the away goal has gone, it's better to play home first.
Low key.
Do you think that?
Low key,
because
then
I said, let me think about that, but I haven't actually spent time to think about it. Do you think it's better? Because back in the day, away goal, you want to play home second.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're coming to our ground.
Yeah.
But do you think now it's flipped?
A little bit, because I think now the handbrakes are kind of off mentally, right? Teams were naturally going to away, or the first leg is almost like a chess match. It's a little cagey. Maybe the home team has so much pressure on them to win. The away team can kind of back off a little, and then in the second leg, it's almost like reverse. It was for me. That's
Now
why.
it's like the
That's
home
why I'm
team
so
first.
happy away goals are gone, because I almost felt like they're playing for away goals at some point. It's too chess. Like now, I honestly feel like teams do go for a whole lot more in the home leg now. Like you look at Arsenal, bro. They're just like, this is our ground. We're just gonna batter you, bro. And then you go beat us in the second leg. Do what you want.
Yeah. Now the home team go and just say we.
Like if I was Arsenal, honestly, I'd rather play the first leg at home, because now imagine first leg you go to Paris, you don't get the result you need, and then you have to go home, and it's like now we have to chase, we have to break you down. Yeah, I think I'd rather play the first leg at home these days, which is crazy to say.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's interesting. That's interesting. But all right, PSG. I mean, all right, Barcelona, Inter scraped through. Obviously, look,
I think both teams scraped through.
Yeah, they scraped through. Barcelona, I don't know what they were doing, but there was a level of complacency. I think there was a huge complacency issue with PSG and Barcelona, and you guys take that as your warning. You know what I mean? You're the attacking.
You think it was complete? I think from PSG, I think they just got punched in the face.
Dembele said we were so complacent.
Fair enough. I thought Villa. I gave a lot of credit to Villa. Not to take credit away from Dortmund, but I thought Barca were really complacent.
Barcelona. I don't think PSG have an excuse for being complacent. It was 2-1. You didn't walk in there 4-1.
It was 3-1.
Oh, sorry, 3-1.
And they were but they were up 5-1 after 20 minutes on aggregate.
Okay.
They see what I mean?
If he's talking about during the game,
like after they were up 2-0, 5-1 aggregate after 20 minutes. I was thinking, it's done.
But the Dortmund one, okay, I can understand. You won 4-0 in your first. So that's a little bit. But at the same time,
I can't lie, Barca got too many. Bro, after 1-0, I was like, hello, hey, this feels like Roma. This feels like Liverpool.
Honestly, I think when I'm looking at Barcelona, I'm looking at Inter. I think again, bro,
it's just matchup, bro.
It's like we're just saying a repeat of what we just said a second ago. The only thing is, I think Barcelona create more clear-cut chances than Arsenal. Than PSG. I think Inter and Arsenal are comparable defensively. I know Arsenal are first in like every defensive stat system, goals conceded to Inter. Inter structurally are good, but I did. As much as I admire Inter and I really like Inter, and I think Inzaghi's an elite coach. I think he's unbelievable. I did see Bayern get too many chances over these two legs, bro.
You think so?
I did, yeah.
I don't think they had that many chances. I think the first leg they definitely did. I honestly think in the second leg, I was surprised.
Inter were throwing their lives at the ball at something.
No, but that's last 20 minutes.
Let me say something.
That's last 20 minutes. Oh, you ain't familiar with...
No, I know you. But let me say something, right? If Bayern Munich had a better player, like a more revitalized player than Leroy Sané, they could have comfortably won this tie, you know. That's what Sané got in so many dangerous positions over these two legs and did absolutely nothing with it. Nothing. If that's Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, if it's Rafinha,
If that's Saka or Dembele in the final or something. You get punished now. I love Inter. I think they were they're over the course.
If we're being real, you're talking about their defense. Like, bro, you know they've conceded like 6 goals all tournament.
Yeah, they conceded one in the group
stage, and since then, like they conceded against Feyenoord, they were basically through. They conceded a few there, and against Bayern as well too. Like, okay, they conceded 2. One of them is just Harry Kane brilliance. Like that's Harry Kane.
What goal?
Like for me, that's like his goal.
Yeah.
And then Dyer, it's a cross, but. I really don't worry about Inter defensively. I can't lie. I can hear what you're saying, but they're not really a question mark for me defensively. I think they can hang with the best of them in that regard.
100%. I'm just saying it was the first time it felt a little bit of chink in armor. That's all I'm saying. And I'm thinking you're coming against the best team in the world offensively.
Yeah.
they're gonna trouble you in much better,
For sure,
different ways than Bayern did. Bayern, we've been waiting for them just to hurry up and get out, man. Get out of this competition. Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys ain't serious. We've been saying this all season.
Yeah.
So when I look at this team, the matchup is very interesting. But there's one player I want to talk about, and that's Lautaro. If I'm loving the way it's kind of been set, where it's like we're gonna be solid defensively. We're gonna be we build out. One thing we can't disregard from is how good they are from building out the back. I don't want to make out like we're talking about like a Diego Simeone team. This team
play football, bro.
Really good football.
They play football.
They play really good football.
Yeah.
But I'm loving how it's just kind of like everyone's doing their thing, and Lautaro is feeling like the magic man. You know what I mean? You know, earlier you were saying it's crazy. You felt like Real Madrid didn't have that kind of. Lautaro is really coming up. This could be one of them seasons for him, man, because we spoke about his Ballon d'Or rankings when we're like, hold on, if they're being consistent, he won a Copa, he was the top scorer, he did this, he's doing that. But anytime you're talking about a player that's meant to get a transfer, you don't say Lautaro. A team looking for a striker, we look at the stats all season, Lautaro's there, 30 goals, Lautaro's there, 30 goals. Yeah.
He's the only striker.
We ignore him.
It's like him, Haaland, and Mbappe the last 3 or 4 years that have scored 20 goals plus in the league.
And he's always like, we just like don't acknowledge him because we feel he's like an Upamecano, right? Where the screen is on, the whole world is watching, and he doesn't do anything. It always feels like that. But I think this season, man, I'm really impressed, man.
It's actually so funny because I've said this about Inter, and I'm gonna say it with him too. I actually think both Inter and Lautaro were better last year. Like,
really?
Well, bro, you know, Inter last year, they hit like 90-something points in the league. Lautaro was the top scorer in damn near every competition he played, even in the Copa America, the campaign he had. Yeah. But that, like we're saying with Rice, right? Like, we remember players for the biggest moments. And that moment against Atletico, the penalty that he completely skied, he was basically nullified across 2 legs. That ended up defining his season and probably hurt his Ballon d'Or ranking at the end of it. But I think Lautaro was better last season. Bro, he scored like so many goals last season.
What's his numbers this year?
Not as good.
I'm more just thinking about what I've seen in the Champions League.
To be fair, in the Champions League, they're much better. I think he scored in his last 5 games. But across all competitions, I would argue Thuram has probably, for me, I've preferred, this season, last season was no contest. This season, I actually think Thuram has been Inter's best striker.
Thuram's number 9 play has been sensational in the Champions League. Yeah. It has been sensational. The Bayern first leg was brilliant. Yesterday, bro, the guy he was winning fouls when they needed to and stuff like when you just play like a proper 9, I do agree with you.
Bro, that's the kind of striker Real Madrid need, to be honest with you. And it's crazy because they didn't spend a dime on Thuram. He was a free transfer. And again, it's another one similar to Lautaro. Thuram's numbers have always been pretty good. He's always been a good striker around Europe. But when the time came to get a transfer, only Inter are the kind of team that make that kind of signing. Yeah. But on the topic of Lautaro, and I guess it kind of ties in with Thuram, this is one thing for me with Lautaro that I don't think he ever gets enough credit for, because everyone looks at Lautaro and says, yeah, he's good, but he's a front 2 striker. He can only play in a 2. Like, how would he do in a leading the line by himself? But at the same time, how many strikers could do what Lautaro does in a 2? Because now think about it this way, Cam. Lautaro has done it with Lukaku up front, and they won the league. He was paired with Dzeko up front. They went to a Champions League final. He's now doing it with Thuram up front. They're on course to win their 2nd Serie A in a row and go to another Champions League final. Yeah, okay, you can make your whole argument about leading the line by yourself. How many strikers in a 2 are as effective as how Lautaro or Martinez is?
There we go. So why wouldn't you structure your formation around a player like that?
100%.
Perfect. I feel like you should drop the mic there, mate.
For real. Yeah. Honestly, everyone wants to hit him for that. Yeah. Look what he's done in the 2.
Yeah.
And they play in a 2. It's not like they play in a 1. They play in a 2.
Point proven.
Yeah. But I love the relationship that they have together. Yeah.
Look, as much as I've been loving Inter, I do want Barcelona to go through. I do see Barcelona being the ones to go through. And I do see a 2006 repeat. Arsenal Barcelona final is what I'm going for. I'm praying, I'm hoping this is like a Lamine Yamal semi-finals, man. You know what I mean? Where we're just gonna see some brilliance. But one thing I would say for the Champions League, I think this first year, the format, the everything, the way it's gone, it's been a great success. I think we've got a fantastic Final 4, and the Final 4, 3 of them were in the top 4 in the group stages. So PSG. It's just from Liverpool are the only ones.
PSG are the only team.
PSG are in it instead of Liverpool. And that kind of shows that it's been a level of consistency the whole way, because usually in the Champions League, if you have the group, it may not be a level of consistency that you need. You can maybe stumble in and which PSG have done. They're the only ones. but it shows that Arsenal, Barcelona, and Inter have shown a consistency through the whole way through this tournament. And in a way, that can give you more stock for when they win it as like the best winners. I'm not here to compare best winners of all time, but it would feel way more as like a deserved win. Do you know what I mean? Like no moment did we scraped through and we needed a last minute goal.
The thing is, you pretty much have to play everyone in this campaign, right? It's not like you play the same 3 teams in the group. You play a lot of these teams play, like look at PSG. They played Juventus, they played Bayern, they played Atletico Madrid, they played Man City.
Yeah.
They've played Liverpool. They're gonna play Arsenal. Like they have to be. They've played everybody. You can't say PSG.
Yeah, it feels like a proper
they won the
Champions
Champions League, but they didn't play this team.
It's a proper like Champions League.
I think it's been an overwhelming success, man.
So
you got Barca, Arsenal.
I got Barca, Arsenal 2006
I'm so torn on both.
Can
of them, honestly.
Arsenal redeem the ghost of what happened in 2006? Can Arsenal? That will be an incredible story. The build up to that final will be sick. We'll be seeing all old school Ronaldinho clips, Eto'o clips, Henry clips, Fabregas. That will be a sick final.
I didn't see Lamine Yamal. I didn't see Rafinha. The only one I saw was Ferran Torres.
That can be Saka's speech. Hey, but I do want a PSG Barcelona final, but I think it's gonna be Arsenal.
I agree in terms of if you put a gun to my head right now, pick a final. I do edge towards Arsenal Barcelona, but bro, could easily honestly. I'm trying to think. Has there ever been a semifinal I've watched that like is as tight like as this? Because even last year, Dortmund, no one thought Dortmund were going to win the Champions League.
I mean, in 2007 was pretty sick. AC Milan v United and then Chelsea v Liverpool.
But then,
that was I don't think AC Milan weren't favourites for that. It was
100%. But also, did anyone think Liverpool ended up going to the final?
Chelsea was incredible.
But everybody thought it was going to be Chelsea United. I'm pretty sure that was like a pretty overwhelming thought. And this one, honestly, bro, I feel like all 4 teams are so close in terms of quality, man. It's so tough to predict. I would not be surprised if Inter go to the final and play PSG. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Barca PSG. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Arsenal Inter.
Yeah. I mean, it shows credit how big that win against Real Madrid has been for Arsenal. Because if you had said this 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago,
crazy.
We would have said Arsenal.
I thought their season when they lost to United was done, bro.
We would clearly said they're the weakest of the bunch. So credit to them. But yeah, I'm going Arsenal, Barcelona. That's what I'm going for.
I think I'm gonna go with that, but I'm not saying I'm not giving any.
Yeah.
I don't give Arsenal 1%. I ain't saying none of that.
You need to. Well, yeah.
Hey, yo, you were just lucky you didn't say anything off camera. I know what you were saying around this.
Have you got an apology?
I already apologized to Arsenal fans.
Apology.
I already apologized to Arsenal fans, man. They already heard it. Yeah, go check out my mention. You're lucky you didn't make any big predictions off camera.
Man, I just do my thing. You get me? I just do my thing.
Guys, like, share, subscribe.
Quick one though.
Are you gonna just interrupt my outro?
Yes, I have. Sorry, mate. Quick one. Who was the player of the quarterfinals?
The player of the quarterfinals was Declan Rice. Off the top of my head. Unless Lautaro, big up to him. I think it's Declan Rice, bro. 2 men of the match performances, the free kicks.
Moment of the tournament.
Yeah. For me, that's an incredible two legs from him. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Declan Rice is the one because, as you mentioned, 2 legs, man of the match against the Real Madrid team. And then if you're just talking about what grabbed the headlines, if you're talking about what everybody was talking about, those 2 free kicks are unbelievable. It made UEFA pages start rolling off the best Champions League free kicks ever scored, how many players have scored 2 in one game. And I watched all of those, by the way. None were of the quality of Declan Rice for 2 in one game. So back-to-back man of the matches, I don't think that it's debatable. I think it's definitely Declan Rice for the player of the tournament. Player of the tournament in the quarterfinals so far.
Can I ask for now?
No, I'm joking now.
Like, share, subscribe. This has been another episode of the Eye Test. Of course, shout out to BR powering this podcast as always. Check them out on X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. We'll be back next week with another episode. We'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.